It's a great pleasure, I'd ask that you to welcome our TUC speaker, trade unionist, Chris Bough, the Assistant General Secretary of the Public and Commercial Services Union, who I think is going to address us primarily about green jobs. So, Chris Bough.
Well, I'm proud to represent my union PCS here today, to join the protests that are taking place across the planet, to demand that heads of government take decisive action at Copenhagen, and to show in practice that trade unions need to play their part in building the mass pressure that's going to be vital to force governments to act and stop the slide towards environmental disaster. We've had nearly 3 decades of a high-octane free market fundamentalism that has produced the biggest economic crisis in living memory. After finding over £1 trillion of public money to bail out the speculators, the public debt is now being used as a pretext to make all of us pay the price through mass redundancies, mass unemployment, and the biggest planned assault on public services we've seen since the NHS and the welfare state was created over 60 years ago. We've got to challenge the myth that there is no alternative to this madness. If money can be found to bail out capitalism in its hour of need, if money can be found to fund illegal and murderous wars across the planet, with tens of billions of pounds lost to the public exchequer through tax avoidance and tax evasion measures of the super rich, then money can and must be found to tackle climate change, and money can be found for the massive programme of public investment in genuine new climate jobs, in public buildings, in insulation of homes, in developing a clean public transport system, in upgrading an antiquated national grid, of investing in renewable energy. But unfortunately, there's more chance of Tony Blair finding a weapon of mass destruction than the market investing the public investment, investing the funds necessary to develop a green industrial base. It will take, as other speakers have said, a mass campaign to put the rhetoric of green and climate jobs into practice, to build genuine support amongst the wider trade union movement, to follow the inspirational example of the Vestas workers on the Isle of Wight, to show that the fight to protect jobs, the fight to protect public services, is part of the same fight to save the planet. It's part of the same fight against an economic system that places the profit of major multinational companies above the planet's future. And I would say that if the government and if politicians won't act, we have in the process a need to challenge the fatalism and the defeatism that has afflicted the trade union movement and popular protest for far too long, and to show in practice, to restate the belief that another world really is possible. Thanks for listening.